It's 9 o'clock. We will call the Harrison County Commission meeting to order for Wednesday, January 11th, 2023. You will rise and join in the invocation and pledge, please.
Before we have our prayer, ladies, come on in. Before we have our prayer, to someone that is our dear friend that we all care about and cares about all of us, we could wish Susan happy birthday. This is her annual 39th birthday. And we do wish the best for you. Heavenly Father, we just pray for Susan to have a wonderful day today. I pray for all the people that are here in attendance and those that are getting ready to go back to their desk to have a wonderful day with peace and kindness, filled with the Holy Spirit, and a safe trip back to their homes and their families. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Maybe you should have snatched that prayer out.
At least this is not like, Steve is still here. Ron Watson used to blew the horn, remember that? The noisemaker.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to business here. Is there anyone signed up to speak from the public, John?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? Okay. Hearing none, we will move to number one, review, discuss, consider organizational matters for calendar year 2023. A through E. A is election of president.
Motion for you to remain as president, Madam President.
A motion for myself, Susan Thomas, to remain as president of the Harrison County Commission, correct?
Please.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. I think. Happy birthday, I guess, right? Okay, hours of operation for the courthouse, B.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Is there any discussion on that?
And that would be again that the hours do not change. We hold the same hours as we have last year,
Could you state those hours? Yeah,
Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30.
so that would be the
Okay, the motion
motion.
for the hours to be 8:30 to 5:30 for the courthouse. 4:30. Well, that's that. Well, okay. Any further discussion? You okay to amend that to say?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. D, agenda notice of meeting management, and this was approved also on November 16th, 2022. What's the pleasure?
I'd like to make an adjustment to that schedule. And make a motion to adjust that schedule.
Okay, the motion's been made to adjust the schedule. You want to explain your schedule?
Yes, ma'am. Requisitions would still be Thursday at 11. Agenda items would be Thursdays by 4:30. And made to the public available on Fridays at 4:30. That gives our staff more time to get everything completed. And that we don't have to. If we don't make a time, we're in good shape. So all I'm asking for is to move them a couple hours.
May I interrupt 1 second? So for C is just the date and time of the regular meeting.
Yes, that
Commissioner
stays
Hinkle,
the same.
yes, what Commissioner Hinkle is talking about is D, the notice, the meeting management.
Right.
And that kind of
Right.
stuff.
So make the motion to approve C and amend E as stated by Commissioner.
Right, he's
Hinkle.
made the motion to amend it.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just the 11.
My only thing, does it give the girls enough time if one of us want to change something to get it out to the public?
It's giving you just the same amount of time as you have now. It's just that we've been forcing them to hit at 2 o'clock, and I think we realize that we don't see most of them till 3 or 4.
I thought we had a sooner, I thought it was us that had the earlier, that would give them time.
Correct.
Or is it?
Initially,
So right now, everything needs to be in by 11 on,
On
let's say
Friday.
that Thursday.
Thursday, right,
Not
by
Thursday.
us.
Yes, by us. And then the
Right.
girls put together the agenda and then send it out to preview, which is the commissioners, Mr. Spires, myself, and the attorney. And then at that time, commissioners can change anything or, and then the next day is when they work on bookmarking it and putting it together to send it out to the public.
I mean, if it gives them more time, I'm okay with it. If it rushes them in any way, I'm not. I mean, that's just, I don't want to put a lot of burden on them to get it out.
I don't see where it puts any burden on.
Could we maybe compromise and do the submission deadline at like 2 o'clock? Because if we get things to them by 2 o'clock, then they have time to still put everything on the agenda and then send it out to preview. That way you guys can review it that evening and then make any changes as needed. I'm afraid if it's at 4:30,
Well, I'm fine to shove it to 3 and make it for commissioners to have their agenda items in by 3. The rest of the stuff, I don't think matters, most of the stuff comes from you.
But they have to get it all bookmarked.
if
Is
it's.
that done ahead of time?
No, so if it comes in by 3, all that is, with the agenda items, that's just putting it on the paper to send out for
Send
review.
out.
So the bookmarking and everything would be done on Friday.
Which it could,
It's done now, that way.
It is, you are correct, that is.
I understand,
Yeah.
but I guess I don't understand. But as long as I'm okay, if the girls are okay, that's. If they've got time to get it done, if you think they have time to get it done. If we can shorten a couple hours. Like you requested, I'm good with it.
If we could back up something from 4:30.
Yeah, that's 3 o'clock, all right.
Can we do 2:30?
Sure, no reason to say that because there's lots of times on Wednesdays that I've attended other meetings and there's no way getting on the agenda for picking 11 o'clock. Because you're in meetings up till 2 or 3 o'clock, and if it's something that has to pick on the agenda,
You mean on Thursday?
yeah, but you can't get anything added.
Would 2:30 be okay with you?
Try,
Yeah, it doesn't mean it can't be changed in the future.
And then out to the public by 4:30 on Friday.
I think that's only fair to the girls instead of them in there pulling their hair out trying to get it done by 2 o'clock.
We can definitely try it. I mean, we'll see how it works out.
You okay with that? So you're gonna amend your motion.
Yes,
So the submission deadline is gonna be at 2:30 instead of 4:30. The rest of it stays the same. Okay. Any further discussion?
I mean,
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. E, appointments to boards and committees. Exhibit A is the boards and committees for the county commission to serve on, and B is Harrison County Commission Board appointees for 2023.
Madam President, I'd like to make one change to that. It has come to my attention that we should not be doing the appointment for the Mid-Atlantic Aerospace Complex, so we can actually take that off the list. That is not a commission appointed position. So if you wouldn't mind, we'll take that off and then everything else. However you want to proceed.
We're not supposed to be there. We're not supposed to be there.
Motion to maintain everything the same and add in what the administrator said, please.
Okay, motion is for the appointments to remain the same with the exception of the one that the administrator mentioned. Any further discussion?
Yes, ma'am. My motion is to, appoint Susan Thomas to Area Council on Aging, Region 6. Harrison County Community Corrections and Advisory Board. Harrison County E-911 Advisory Board. Harrison County Emergency Squad. Harrison County Juvenile Crime Enforcement Coalition. Harrison County Local Emergency Planning Committee. And Region 6. Leo Ward. David Hinkle to the Benedum Authority. Airport Authority. David Hinkle to Harrison County Senior Citizen. David Hinkle to Harrison County Economic Development Board. David Hinkle to Harrison County Parks and Rec. David Hinkle to Harrison County Planning Commission. Patsy Tree Cost to Parks and Rec. Harrison Board of Health. Ambulance Authority, Region 5 Planning and Development Council, Region 6 Workforce Investment Board, WVU Extension Services.
May I please make a copy of that so everyone can, I tried to write down as we were going, but thank you.
Did you say you and Patsy both on the Parks and Recreation Board?
I might have, for Patsy to be on it.
So you're taking, you want senior center instead of myself?
Yes, ma'am, I'd like to,
I don't want to give that up.
Huh?
I don't want to give that up.
okay. I just, have a lot of people come to me and discuss that.
They don't want me on the senior center board anymore.
I didn't say it had anything to do with the board of the senior citizen, I'm talking about members of the center.
Members of the center.
Yeah, members.
So you have yourself on the Parks and Rec and not Patsy.
Yes, ma'am. Started my 7th year with the commission, I would like to, work with Parks and Rec.
Okay, is there any further discussion of Mr. Hinkle's motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. I'll go back to Commissioner Treecost motion, and all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Yes, ma'am, I'm opposed. I'd also like to state that again, you all have given Harrison County Development Corporation to a person that does not live in Harrison County and does not represent people that live in Harrison County because he doesn't live here. You all don't seem to care about the Harrison County Development Court, and by not appointing a commissioner. So I'm trying to understand what you think Mr. Jenkins brings to Harrison County Development Court Board.
Well, I'm not gonna get into a discussion about that right here.
Well, we're trying to appoint people to take.
Well,
these
I
positions.
believe Mr. Jenkins, I mean, I work with him on the authority. And believe me, he tries to help this county in any way he can, whether he lives here or not. There are other people that don't live in the county that are on the authority as well.
Well, then I suggest you point yourself to the development corp and maybe spend some time so you can bring the information back. Because I'm a member of the corp and I never see representation from the commission there. and I don't represent the commission. So it's kind of an odd, you all think that I represent you on the Development Authority Corporation, but I don't. I do not represent Harrison County. I do not represent this commission. When you all took me off, you forced me to join, which I pay out of pocket. And I continue to work with the Development Corp to bring businesses to Harrison County on my dime. And you all have the opportunity to appoint one of us to do that, help do that job, and you refuse to do it. So if you or Mr. Treecost aren't willing to step up and take time, I am, but we are not making appointees to do that work.
Okay, we voted on that, correct? We voted on tree cost motion, I believe. Okay. We took care of public comment. Okay, what's the pleasure on number 3, consent agenda?
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, I understand that we have Kylie on Zoom she wants to speak to something that Laura is going to mention in her report. Do you guys have a problem moving Laura's report up at this time?
What's the report, what's it about?
My administrators report various different things for this week's administrators report.
So we don't have to type Kylie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tony, if you could scroll down then to the different items I had in my report. For one, Harrison County was one of the counties that led the state in the month of December with 44 new business registrations.
She is. She's yours.
I have attached to the agenda a little bit of the breakdown from the Secretary of State's office that actually shows that Harrison County has a 0.22% growth in businesses. And along with that, the documentation, it actually breaks down the city distribution of new businesses. Like West Milford has 5, Wallace has 6, Lumber 4. So it actually gives us a picture of where the businesses are going throughout the county. And we can see that it's just not focused just in Clarksburg or Bridgeport, that we're actually getting businesses in the municipalities around the county. The 911 center is working on getting FCC frequencies for the rate of Wallace radio site. The Wallace Tower has been in the works for years now. This is one step closer to getting that Wallace site up and operational, which will be a huge benefit. Not only once it's operational, will it help the first responders with their communication back to 911, but hopefully eventually we can get some cell phone towers or cell phone companies attached to that tower. And we can actually offer cell phone coverage out there in the Wallace area. So I know we've talked about it for several years, but you know, applying for the FCC frequencies is a big deal. We're already starting on the budget prep. I have the auditors training on the 30th of January, where we'll go over the different changes, if any, that will be in this year's budget requirements. And also it'll lay out the dates for the deadlines and everything else with the budget. Pretty much I plan on from now on out every day from 1 to 2 p.m. as dedicated on working nothing but on the budget. So we can, you know, start earlier this year, have everybody's input, get moving on it and go through it with a fine tooth comb. Updates. I have Kylie on the line because, you know, we have sunk a lot of our ARP money, over $12 million into different projects for water and sewer, the infrastructure here in Harrison County. And as it's all coming together, I think it's important to give an update of not only where our over $12 million that we put from ARP funds into infrastructure has gone, but also a result of that, of what's coming back. So she can talk about the different projects, but overall, you know, with our commitment to the different PSDs, municipalities and everything, we have over $69 million total worth of infrastructure now in the county because of what we have committed. And then they were able to say, hey, the county's given us this. They were able to go out and get loans and everything else. So, I mean, that's pretty big that we have $69 million worth of infrastructure improvements in Harrison County. And that does not include what Bridgeport or Clarksburg is doing with their funds and their ARPA money that they have received. So if you wouldn't mind, let me give a few minutes to Kylie to go.
Good morning and good morning, commissioners. Thank you, Laura. I actually have the pleasure of working with several of the utilities here in the county. And when Laura approached me, she said, hey, you know, do you mind giving a quick update on where some of these stand and what exactly the investment that the county made with their ARP funds? So I'll start at the top with Greater Harrison County PSD. Greater Harrison County was awarded $8 million from the county, or allocated $8 million from the county. We've been able to take that $8 million investment and turn that into a $25 million sewer project that'll serve over 400 customers in the Quiet Dell area. That $8 million commitment actually also allowed for the PSD to apply for $5 million from the state through their EEG organization for a water project that will cover all areas of Greater Harrison's water system. For those of you that may not know, Greater Harrison operates 4 separate PWSIDs. Those are state registrations. Those are 4 independent systems. Those systems are the Coons Run system, Lost Creek, Mount Clair, Quiet Dell, and Valley of Good Hope. All 4 of those systems will be receiving upgrades, whether they be line replacement due to aging infrastructure, additional storage due to, you know, just growth in the area over time and additional customers being added, as well as upgrades, necessary upgrades to the Coons Run system that the PSD has taken over as recently as the fall of last year. They've been kind of in a managerial contract, but they've been working to get that taken care of in that merger. Additionally, Greater Harrison was able to do an emergency upgrade to the Locust Heights area. They had poor water pressure. It was an old system. They've actually had low water pressure since it was put in 1974, but we were able to install a booster station that went online on Monday and greatly improved the customers on Locust Heights. And we were also able to order, it's not here yet, but a new bar screen for their West Milford plant that takes care of the majority of the customers on that side of the county, and that also services the Clarksburg Country Club and Laurel Park areas that were just added in. That bar screen went down and had to be replaced. So Greater Harrison total investment for the county was $8 million, but their total investment into infrastructure here with significant portions of grant dollars is well over $36 million. Moving on to Sun Valley. Sun Valley is on the heels. We've just finished a water project that greatly improved some of their system and was able to serve a few additional customers, but that doesn't count any investment from the county previously, but it's just something that the PSD had been working toward. They were able to take their ARPA funds and use that to pull a section of their project out in an area that is greatly needed. Their lift station number 1 and number 2 have horrible hydrogen sulfide gas issues, and this upgrade, we're in the design stages now. The investment from the county will be basically doubled, and we're able to do a $1.1 million project early because this system or those pump stations will be impacted by the Lake Floyd system. So when Lake Floyd comes back in, they'll hit those pump stations. So we needed to make some quick modifications there. Then they are also, because of the investment of the county, we're able to apply for $3 million for a total project of $9.1 million to do some extension areas that were cut off of their previous project. Areas like Fletcher Heights, Marion Heights, and Old Davison Run Road that we've studied and looked at in the past, but just funds hadn't been available. And because of the investments from the county and the state to infrastructure, these projects have become viable. Now, I'm not going to speak on everything. I mean, Clarksburg Water Board is doing a ton with some colleagues of mine in my office. City of Bridgeport continues to invest in their infrastructure at great levels, as well as other municipalities, City of Shinston, Lost Creek, Lost Creek, West Milford. But I'm going to talk about the ones that I'm specifically involved in. We have bids coming in for Lake Floyd. We actually open bids tomorrow. Again, that was an investment from the county. That was no investment from the county, but due to the investment and the commitment to infrastructure, we were able to secure $500,000 for that project through the economic enhancement grant at the state level. And that project is about $2.3 million. We'll open bids tomorrow and hopefully start construction as soon as possible. Town of Lumberport opens bids next week on a water meter replacement. This will allow us to identify how much water the town of Lumberport is actually using so that we can look toward the major infrastructure upgrades that are necessary either at their treatment plant or interconnections with neighboring utilities. So this project is kind of step one. The unique funding opportunity that we have has really allowed us to kind of break these projects up and take care of some immediate concerns up front. And then the last one just I want to mention is Hepzibah Public Service District. Enlarged Hepzibah has worked really hard to get some things identified and taken care of. And with a commitment from the county, we'll be starting construction, believe within 2 weeks. We already have bid the project. We've already closed on all the financing. But we'll start construction in the next couple of weeks on a water upgrade project that totals about $2 million. And that was with a small investment from the county. We're able to use the additional funds to take care of some treatment plant upgrades necessary at their Erie plant and their Spelter plant. So overall, a lot going on, a lot of good things happening. But just some quick numbers. The economic enhancement grant was allocated. It was created by the legislature for $250 million to go into the Water Development Authority for administration. Out of that $250 million, 150 has been allocated to date. Out of that 150, $16.5 million are coming back to Harrison County. And that was due to the commitment. We had to provide information of where each county was providing, where they had, submitted their funds and whether or not that there was local buy-in. So the commitment by the county commission to invest in these projects has allowed us to double it so far. And we're just continuing to move forward.
Madam President. Kylie, really, what you just said is the bottom line is from Good Hope to Salem to Wallace. We're putting infrastructure where we never thought we ever would, and we're replacing Band-Aids that we always said we had to Band-Aid because we didn't have the money to replace.
Pretty much we talk about in our office that, the projects we're working on aren't your run-of-the-mill, the easy, hey, extend this water down this area. It's projects that would have never been able to be completed without this investment. And so we're really able to, improve the infrastructure here in Harrison County specifically because of this.
This is the kind of news that we want to hear every meeting. I can't thank you enough. It's so exciting. Nothing above ground happens without what happens underground. So thank you for everything.
No problem. And I'm happy to answer any questions anytime anyone needs me, you can call me here at Thrasher. So
Appreciate your
thank you for
time.
having me.
Okay, bye.
And that is.
Good stuff happening. Okay, number 4, payroll change notices A through F.
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve 4A through F. Is there any discussion?
There is only just one change, or one discrepancy I'd like to note on the payroll change for, ES Laddie. The original payroll change notice had a discrepancy with the annual salary. In the packet, it says 69,965.63, and actually the rank of, captain should be 72,365.63.
Motion to amend to include the administrator's notes. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. Number 5, we have none. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Number 6, requisitions, purchase orders, invoices as shown on vendor list A. And Commissioner Hinkle pointed out that we have listed some down farther in the agenda. Did we want to?
Yes, number 12, Madam President.
Okay.
So motion to approve and include number 12. So what you want me to do?
No, number 12, let's
Number
discuss
12
it.
is an agenda item to be discussed.
Okay. Okay, so motion to approve then.
Motion to approve number 6A. Any further discussion? Hearing none, motion carried.
What was 6A?
Vendor requisition list of payment.
Thought we were gonna discuss
That's
the,
what that was my whole thing when I said that Mr. Hinkle said there were some mentioned there was, and then you said,
and Laura said 12 to
well, then
discuss.
what are the other ones?
We have 12, we have 16,
Okay. It deals with the ARP money. And from what I understood, they are on the list, but they are also on the agenda list just for informational purposes, but people could think that we were doing this, paying this twice. Is that what you were?
that's what, yeah, because it says a request to draw down, and then we say it's in requisites, in the requisition, so it's kind of we either need to discuss them and get them that we're approving them or not put them on the agenda as drawdown items and just put them in the,
I believe number, if I may, 12 and 16 are pretty much for the informational purposes. At one point in time, our first time when we had a requisition go through, afterwards, I was questioned about, it wasn't explained properly. The public needs to know. So we've been trying to do better with that. And so with number 12 and 16, I'll turn it over to Michelle in a second. This is, talking about the enlarged Texas PSD. They have submitted their first ARPA fund request to actually draw down the money. They've already previously brought forth what their project was going to be, but this is their first drawdown, which that's why it also shows up on the requisition list.
So Madam Administrator, this is just coming full circle to what you and Kylie have already talked about. You're just explaining where the money's going,
It is, and
Okay.
these are the projects that we have approved
already approved.
or talked about,
Okay.
and this is just so the public knows exactly transparency, what is going on with these funds. And Michelle, you can add to it.
Okay, what I'm trying to do is, because the very first time there was a question about whether, about bringing it out that there was a requisition to pay out funds, that should be on the agenda as well. So what I'm trying to do, and I'll do it however it needs to be done. So what I'm trying to do is, as we receive the information from the municipalities and the PSCs saying, thank you for the X amount of funds. Here's what we're going to do with them. I try to bring that forward and put that on the agenda so that the commission can see, here's what they're gonna do and approve that as a project for them. But then, as they then send in their own request to us, which is like an invoice, a requisition to us to draw down funds, and then I create an internal requisition, so that may be part of the problem too. They're two separate items. They submit something to us saying, here's what we want, and then I have to create an internal document that goes with our payables saying, here, let's pay this based on the request that they've sent. And I tried to, last week, I think it was, or the last meeting, I think, I don't want there to be any more confusion about whether there has to be a vote on
There doesn't.
a discussion item. So that's why I didn't put that as a review, discuss, consider this time. I just put it as, this is informational, heads up, there's a requisition and to draw down some funds in the payables.
And Michelle, more important than anything, your update is helping me to know, because there is a deadline to allocate this money.
Right,
That we know
Right.
whether or not you're gonna make that deadline.
right,
Hopefully, everybody's spending this money on water and sewer, as we've
right,
explained.
yeah,
And hopefully they understand that they can miss the boat.
right, absolutely. And, sorry. I'm getting
So
old.
why would there not have to be a vote to spend this money?
Because it's their money.
We've already voted.
They can spend it however they want,
Right.
as long under the terms we agreed with infrastructure, water and sewer.
That's when I bring forward the project they're going to do and the commission approves that project, I think.
We're administering the money that has already been
Right,
allocated to
we've
these
allocated-
various.
The commission's allocated the money to them, and then the commission approves the project. So anything within the confines of that project, they would be allowed to spend money on it.
Because if they turn in a requisition for a new roof, we're gonna say, no, we didn't
Correct.
do that.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm tracking it.
And I haven't, and I've
So
watched that.
That's why we need to look at the vote to make sure we know what they're bringing in. If they're making a requisition, we've approved the money, we approved the project, but when they send in a requisition, we have to vote on.
We vote on the requisition and she's giving us the information
But
that goes along with the requisition.
this is the only, but we don't do that with any other. Either
Because it's
don't
not,
put it-
because it's not
but then
handled the
don't put
same
it on
way,
the
David.
agenda.
This is money that has been allocated to them.
Right, and
The other requisitions are coming out of our funds.
Right.
And we can do it, however, it's whatever. the
No, I love
commission
how you're doing it,
wants.
because it also allows me to go into public and talk about what's going on throughout the county.
I don't think that changes, Patsy. It just says their second ARP request to draw down funds, and then it says it's included in the payables.
The requisition, the internal requisition to create the actual check, that's what.
So what you're saying is you want this to appear as an approval and then do the requisition.
I think for the public to know what we're spending the money on, we don't.
Well, we're
We
giving
just-
them right here. We're telling them what the money's being spent on.
Yeah. Michelle's giving us the update weekly. I'm impressed at how you and Laura have worked this out.
It just says they submitted their request. I don't know what they're going to pay them $59,000 for.
Well, and that information is included with the requisition that's in the payables. That I can absolutely include that information as
With
part
the
of the
agenda.
agenda documentation.
I guess I want to ask what the public wants, but they want to know what's going, what we're.
Well, you seem
spending.
to know everything the public wants to know, so you tell us.
Oh, that was a good one, Susan. I
Well,
appreciate that.
you keep throwing it out there, so I just,
Just said there was
sorry,
people-
I mean, I don't want to keep continue this.
Just asking that we keep track of how we spend the money and we make sure everybody.
Well, I mean, Michelle is doing an excellent job.
I didn't say she wasn't. I'm not saying.
Well,
that
obviously,
we're
she's
done.
not doing it the way you want it done.
And I can,
So, well,
whatever.
Michelle, just submit an invoice. These two will sign it off and it doesn't really matter. We don't have to put any more of this agenda stuff on here. Just pay them and that's all we need to worry about. Don't put the review late.
This is why you can't discuss things.
No, I'm trying to discuss. I'm trying to understand why.
But
we
no,
don't
but it
wanna
has to be
discuss them.
your way,
It's
and you
not my
won't
way.
listen
What's
to
your way,
anything
Susan?
else.
Tell me
No.
your way, how you want to.
I think the way we're doing it now, fine, Michelle coming and telling us is A-okay with me. Maybe we do need the paperwork attached to the agenda, so then that way the public can see. So, anything else? on numbers 7, 12, and 16. Motion's been made to approve 7. You want to add 16 and 18 for,
Discussion.
no, don't need discussion, we just had a discussion.
Or not discussion, but,
For the record, I mean, it's for, yeah, it's,
okay, thank you.
okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I don't see how you can add them. For informational purposes,
That's exactly what his motion was, to make them for informational purposes.
we're tying information stuff into paying bills.
Okay, so let's just do 7A separately.
Let's just,
make a motion on that.
no, we're gonna do it this way. Thank you. Okay. Number 8, consideration of approval of project fund requisition for the payment of costs associated with the project to be financed from proceeds of the Series 2019 bonds issued for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District Series 2021 A and B, Development District number 3, White Oaks Project number 2, in Series 2008A, Charles Point Project number 2, Northland Bay Improvements A through C requisitions in the amounts listed.
Motion approved, the amounts listed,
Motion
A through C.
under 8.
Mhm.
Motion to approve 8A through C. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No,
Okay. Number 9. Review, discuss. Wait a minute, start here. Review, discuss, consider GSA update, potential executive session pursuant to 69A4B9 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction, planning, the investment of funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which, if made public, might adversely affect the financial or other interests of the county. Do we have anything that we need to discuss? Okay, hearing none, we will move to number 10. Consideration of approval of project fund requisitions for the payment of costs associated with the General Services Administration Building Project to be financed from the proceeds of the Series 2020 bonds issued for the Harrison County Building Commission. A, requisition number 78, Rycon Construction, for the amount listed.
Motion approved, A.
Motion to approve number 10A. Any discussion?
I would like to note this is the requisition that reflects when commission voted at the last meeting to change the retainage from 125 to hold back 350. So this actually reflects that.
Motion included the note from the county administrator. Addendum.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
no,
We have nothing under 11, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, number 13, review, discuss, consider allowing the North Central West Virginia NCWV Airport to work with Grants Department to apply for industrial access road funds for the airport terminal and Aerotech Park Road.
Motion approved and allow the grant department to always work with the airport, and the airport can always work with grants.
Okay, motion to approve the two entities working together. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. Number 14, review, discuss, consider the appointment of Danielle Hansberry to replace James Dufford on the Charles Point Community Enhancement District CED Board. The term would be February 1st, 2023 through January 31st, 2027. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved, Ms. Hansberry.
Motion to approve Ms. Hansberry for the appointment. Is there any discussion?
yes, ma'am, who recommended him?
The Charles Point Community Enhancement District made the recommendation. She actually lives in that district. She's well known by the board members, and they made the recommendation.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 15, review, discuss, consider 2023 countywide 4-inch aerial imagery at a cost of $22,720 and sign memorandum of understanding between Harrison County and contracted vendor, the Thrasher Group. Is Mike on?
Madam President, Mike Pizzino is on, we actually had to call in.
Mike, are you on the call? You want to see if Rocky is that line?
Unmute the phone with the last four digits, 6443. See if you see that one on there.
See that one on there?
Motion to approve.
I can speak a little bit about it, Mike's better
Rocky,
version.
want to speak to him, either one of them. He's not paying attention, so go ahead.
This is the MOU, for the Harrison County aerial imagery that we actually do every year. So Thrasher has the state contract with us, but it is something that we do every year. It updates, the assessors information, for their aerial photography. It goes to our 911 center. It varies different entities. So this is covering 416 square miles in Harrison County and taking care of that.
Do you want
I
to say
believe I'm
anything?
unmuted now.
There he is.
Can we hear me now?
Yes.
Is there anything you wanted to speak to? The motion's been made to
I-
approve. Did you say anything, Mike?
No, other than the history of this, having these, the photography over several years. The last couple of years, I've been getting a lot of requests for what did it look like in 2012? Or what did it look like in 2015? Just last week, I helped Bridgeport out with 3 different years. So it's kind of important to keep these running. I realize it's an increasing cost this year, but I appreciate it. And happy birthday, Commissioner Thomas. Thank you.
Very much, Mike. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 17, review, discuss, consider donating 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokees that are in need of repairs and not cost effective for the county to give them to United Technical Center for students to use as projects to work on. These vehicles will never be sold or on the highway. They will be scrapped after the students are finished, and they'll list the 2 vehicles. What's the pleasure on 17?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
It belong to your valve pump.
They're, according to Wayne, they're beyond repair for that on the road. We use them. We use them.
So you, with your valve pump money.
You can do
release
whatever.
it.
Yeah, and well, they reached out to us and Randy reached out to me and decided to let them know.
So we really don't have any valve under your vehicles.
Yeah.
No, with the way we've always done it.
Oh, no, I-
As long as you give us something that you're releasing and for us to give them away. That's all. I just want to make sure you spend.
Yeah.
Out the money, we didn't spend the money. So,
They were probably bought before you. They were bought
Oh,
before you.
just,
8 years before I even
I
ran.
don't want us getting.
No, I don't disagree that we need something from you saying it's okay to transfer.
We just pick up a letter saying that we approve these 2 vehicles.
Is it okay to add that to your motion?
Yeah, please.
All right, we'll do it.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, number 19, commissioners' comments. Mr. Treecross, do you have anything?
Yeah, man, happy birthday.
Thank you. I have nothing. Mr. Hinkle?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Motion to adjourn.
Did you have anything else?
On this time.
Okay. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Happy New Year, Betty.